Welcome to another Quantum Conversation. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Hello, beautiful hearts. Thank you so much for joining us again. We are excited to continue our summit series on developing psionics. And today we're going to talk about what it really means to have these extrasensory abilities. My guest today is a beautiful light worker and a healer and an energy transmitter. Barbara Canals is with us, and we are talking about becoming crystal clear and high frequency so that our extrasensory abilities come online. Hi, Barbara. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Hi, Lauren. It's my pleasure. So happy to be here with you and everyone online.
Yes, and you just stepped off an airplane and made it right back for this show. We're very excited
Uh-huh.
about that. And you know, one thing about travel is, especially TSA and immigration, all that stuff it can really mess up our energy, right? Because our
Mm-hmm.
we could get frustrated or there's delays, that sort of thing. So as we're talking about keeping energy clear, what do you do? Like, what did you do on your journey to keep your energy clear while you were traveling?
Mm-hmm. So, well, the basics, the physical stuff, basics. I'll be drinking water. I'll have give myself time so I don't have to stress with doing things,
Yes.
and just have good foods to support me. So I'll
Uh-huh.
always be like I'll pack with me just some teas and some celery, maybe some apples, everything that I know is gonna replenish my body and it's gonna give me good stuff. And that's on the physical level, right? That we need. And then on an more energetic level, I'll constantly ask for full protection. So we have our physical body, which is also energy, but it's denses, and then we have our aura or our energy field around. So making sure that that energy field is fully protected. So I will say, if you want to call it like a mantra or a commandment, or where I'm like, I am now fully protected by the highest source, the highest power. And as you see, even when I said it, my sort of whole field changed and strengthened so that I'm sure I'm completely protected from any other energies. I'm also aware of my breath. I am aware, I'll call back all my energy and I'll send all the energies that are not mine away. And I'll see how the energy leaves my field and I call back my energy. And that's how um, I keep my energy in check. And when I feel like I'm accelerating myself, I realize I'm really getting into the body. So, really feeling my feet stepping through the airport and feeling that part, or just like breathing and relaxing and holding myself, because it's the way that we feel safe when we land in our body, because our body is our home. When we disconnect from the body, we start fragmenting, right? We start and that's when anxiety happens and everything else. We sort of like our energy, our spirit is leaving the body, and that's not very comfortable. So it's all of these things. We have, I think at the point now, we need to be aware of like our physicality as well as our energies. So we need to take care of our physical body, our physical environment, and the energies that are non-physical around us. We need to take care of all of
Yes.
those. Yeah.
Thank you for that. I love that. So,
Hmm.
taking care of our body, moving energy through our body, exercise, that sort of thing, sweat, or
Yeah.
yoga, tai chi, that sort of thing, and eating good food, drinking good liquids, clean, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But
I
then,
think the breath is super important. We forget to breathe. We don't know how to breathe. As soon as we get nervous, we forget our breath. So with every inhale, it's like new life can come in, our spirit comes in. I think that's like what inhale means. It's taking in spirit, it's the breath of life. And with every exhale, we let go of what no longer serves. So it's like we're having this repetitive sort of taking in the new and letting go, a death. Taking in the new and a death. And we have to remember that breath, I get to the point as we expand our consciousness and everything, that breath is not only through just our nose, it starts becoming through our whole body, our whole field. So I feel like for me, if I'm in a really relaxed state, being in a relaxed state is being really present, right? With spirit, with that inhale of life in my body, I'm breathing with every one of my cells. I'm breathing, and the cells are not only in my body, they're in my energy field, in my aura as well. So I can feel, and I can feel expanded. I can start, I'm aware of all those different energies that are around, what's happening,
Wow.
what is happening. And then I have so much power and agency. When we're
I love.
very contracted and we're very nervous, we lose that because we can't see. It's stress. It's like fear, and then we're not able to really connect and see, okay, all of this stuff is happening. You can even know what's happening behind you because you just know because you don't need eyes. You sort of, are feeling it. You have that knowing and that feeling that, well, we're talking about extrasensory abilities. And that is like what happens when we expand. Every time more, we're like, okay, I know it's, something you'll feel straight away, something fishy is going on back there, or it's all good, or whatever. And then you know how to move around enough and move out of like the more complicated, denser levels and move out into other sort of platform energies that might be more supportive, let's say. Yeah.
Yes, that's really interesting. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So what happens, when we take a few breaths, there's something that happens to our nervous system, right? We automatically calm down. Can you explain more of how that allows us to see behind us, sense behind us?
Mm-hmm.
That's just incredible. And it really is being present, as you said. So just a few breaths of that. Do we practice that? Do we practice sensing it and then turning around and seeing? Or how is the best way to become aware of all of that energy around us when we're doing this breathing and
Yeah.
clearing?
The best way to become aware is first breathing. As we breathe more, we allow more of our energy to ground in the body. We become more aware of what this energy that we are is, right? Um, and so that's the first step, that we allow ourselves to relax. When we relax, things start opening up. When we ground our energy into the body, that is part of like our energy, meaning our spirit into the body, that is part of accessing a higher frequency. To do that, we need to release, the conditioning we carry in our body that might not be that good. So it's like we need to take out the debris so that we can ground more in. And then it expands and we become more aware.
Okay, I love that. I just want to share, I just want to share that last night as I woke up and there was heavy rain. And so then maybe I was thinking out of my body or whatever. And automatically I came back to breathing. And I don't know, it maybe in preparation for this call today, it was really fascinating that you bring that up because I was reminded of doing that when I woke up. And I don't do it all the time when I wake up, but last night I did it and just the peace that it brought me. And so I'm trying to recall, I can't remember my dream, but then I went into a nice dream space. Just that simple breathing was able to calm me down, take me out of the head, and really centered in the body, but primarily in the heart too. So that is really key. That's the power of that breath. I find
Yeah,
it really
yeah,
beautiful. What do you think?
yeah, it's incredible. And it's also grounding as we're speaking now, and I'm like super aware of my breath, right? Because we're speaking about the breath and I'm really feeling it like in every one of my cells and coming through every one of my cells, and that breath also feeding every one of my cells. And I feel like how my my base area where I'm sitting, right? The sacrum is sort of going deeper and deeper and deeper into the chair. and my whole body weight is coming down, down, down more. What does that mean? I've got more presence, right? And this is just like a practice that we can do. It's like, are we breathing up to, or are we breathing? And every time you can sort of feel like, okay, that breath is like going through my back, and relaxing all those muscles in my back. It's going through my shoulders and down. It's pulling me down into the earth because we chose to come down into the earth.
We did. We did. We
Yeah.
did.
Hmm.
And so beautiful, a beautiful reminder and demonstration of how we stay grounded in the body.
Yeah, because
Breath.
we forget, we think breath is like, oh, so it's breath, is whatever. It's so important.
Right.
It's so important.
And it's so simple. It really is to just breathe in. And I know those who are watching us are practicing this as well,
Mhm.
taking some breaths in, holding it for a moment, letting it go. I mean, there's other styles of breathing, but even that is really tremendous.
Yeah.
So, okay, so the breath is really great to allow us to ground in our bodies and be very present. So when we're talking about extrasensory abilities, what does that mean? Extrasensory abilities, that means the clairs, right? The claircognizant and all of this thing. And then there comes something about trust. Can you speak a little bit about becoming more aware of these extrasensory abilities? And how do we establish trust? Is it just by trial and error or really working at it? And because to preface that, when I look back at certain things that I knew, I know what I know. I remember that sure, solid feeling of knowing. And then a couple years
Didn't
later,
follow.
it's something that I worked on. A couple years later, it was proved that I knew, for example, these trees needed to be taken care of. And I knew we only had to do it one time. The government was like saying, oh, it needs to be every 2 years. But something deep inside me said, no, only one time. And it ended up being true. So I was like, wow. And it took a couple years to confirm that. But how do you establish that trust on a more of an accelerated level?
Yeah. So as I was saying before, like the more we ground our spirit, so our spirit is our like you can call it spirit, you can call it consciousness, our particular consciousness that we bring into this earth, which I also call our potential. So all those gifts, all those, so up until now, because the frequency of the earth was so dense, not up until now, but like, from it accelerated after 95, it was quite hard to be able to ground our spirit, our potential, our consciousness into the body, to bring it into the body. So people would have to meditate and sort of go out to reach their, and it's also their intuition. So go out to reach the intuition and all these abilities, right? Whereas now the frequency of the earth is vibrating so high, and what we're being called to is to ground spirit into the body. Now, how do we ground spirit into the body? We need to clear our body, and our aura is full of information, of ancient information, karmic information, ancestral information, genetic information that is not, that is the debris, the bad, let's say the bad stuff. I don't like saying the bad stuff, but the stuff, the heavy stuff, right? Um, the heavier stuff, the trauma stuff and everything, it's that. So if that is in the body, spirit can't come in, right? I say many times, like imagine it's this glass of water and it's all full of mud,
Mm,
right? It's like nothing can come in, you can't fill it up more. But if we clear that, right, and it's like we pull out the mud, then we can put in new water and it's going to become clear, which is the new water, is the spirit. And
I
so
love
as we
that.
remove these things, like the traumas, spirit, it's like pieces of our spirit, which is our consciousness, which is like those parts of ourselves that are still out in the consciousness, right, in the quantum field, that is our what, call it your highest aspect, I don't know, something that you've, like, for example, a life in whatever lifetime, or in whatever planet, or in whatever civilization you want, and you can, and that's your spirit, and you can bring it back into the body, and those are going to have, you're like, and that is making your body in balance, come to a higher frequency. But that's also going to activate your gifts, because those pieces of spirit, those fragments of spirit you're bringing back, of your consciousness, of your potential, have like all of us have that. It's not only for like very specific secluded people. No, all of us are part of that spirit. So we all have different abilities, but all of us have like our in different abilities, like we'll use them in different ways and everything, but all of us, as we ground our spirit into the body, these abilities start opening up. So all are clairsentient abilities. So you'll be able, for me, like as more that I ground my spirit, because that is illimited. The more I expand, the more, I can ground more and more abilities open up. And I'm like, oh, wow, I remember I can do this. Oh, and I just know this. Why do you know? I don't know. But I know. And I start hearing things, and I'm very far, but I can hear like, oh, okay. And I can start seeing things. And then so you get these abilities, and then with time you start mastering them, right? And the thing is, we have to do it also, like the process can't be, this is super important, a process that like everything comes together at once. That would be so much for our mind. So it's it's like it's like a plant that's growing. We feed it, it grows, and something opens up more, and then you feed it more, right? You water it, whatever, it opens up more. And you're like, oh, I can do this now. And I can do this other thing, and oh, I'm like, I mean, now the field, like for me at the moment, like I can maneuver the field so amazingly. Like even with like working with people and everything, it's amazing. It's like the results are like boom, boom, boom. It's incredible. That stuff, it's not only, it's me because I've been able to ground every time, expand more and ground more in my spirit. It's also because of the frequency that we're at on the earth at the moment. But it's like, that's another ability, to be able to be to read the field so well, and to be so connected to the field that you can, things happen like instantly, dreams, and they'll be like materialized the next day. And I'm like, wow, I dreamed that and it's happening right, so it's like the wheels of illusion, because part of the views of illusion is that ego and all the trauma we hold in the body. As soon as they're lifted, it's like, whoa, I have all these superpowers. So the work is about lifting all that trauma. The good thing is that trauma can be lifted really quickly now, because the energies are really supporting for us to go through this.
So what's necessary? So it seems like as we're grounding our spirit in the body, and we're breathing and we're being very present, it seems really like we're in the heart, out of the mind, because the mind would take us into circles and keep us maybe even out of the body, right? We're into the future, or we're thinking about the past. But if we're really present, I can see how that would really help us understand our abilities. So when an emotion comes up, negative emotion, breathing through it, letting it pass, give us some advice on that, because letting that go then is what we're talking about, keeping our energy clear, right? So we let that go. And what is behind it? More of these awarenesses that come into play to give us guidance. Talk with us about that.
Ask me the question again, because I'm not sure I understand. So when
All right.
some emotion
So
comes up that is not, or some negative thought pattern or whatever that comes up,
clearing that,
because
yeah,
energies can be emotions, they can be mental, they can be thought patterns, beliefs. We have many
there
beliefs
you go.
that are
Right.
limiting us to be our full potential. Yes.
Yeah, there's
So
this whole gamut of things that can just pull
yeah,
us out.
yeah,
Our telephones, for example, right? They can pull us out in an instant.
yeah.
So it really is a heart-centeredness. Would you say that's the key?
Yeah, the heart-centeredness for sure. That's the step. Like that's when we're going into this heart-centeredness, that we can be in that heart-centeredness state where it's like a bigger force our spirit, our intuition is guiding us through there, because that's our center point. Everything is, the heart is our portal. Like we think we have to go out to reach God. No, our heart is our portal to God, spirit, whatever to home, All our gifts are in here. They come up from here. And then you go, our heart is our center to the universe, to the cosmos, to everything. Everything is in the heart. But
So
when I would suggest for people to write, like when you have an emotion coming up, welling up, that is like, and these repetitive patterns or these repetitive voices that come into the head, like, which are beliefs or like, write
yeah,
it down, keep a journal so that you can start seeing, like, okay, and ask yourself, why am I feeling this way?
yeah.
Because
Why am
there's
I feeling
something
this way?
below it, and there's something below it, and keep asking to see what is below it. And also hold, when I always say in like the emotion, like sustain that emotion and just like look at it and like hold it, with all your energy. It'll shift. It will,
Wow.
but we have to give it attention, sort of like not go
So
spiraling down with it and being a victim of it, but sort of paying
exactly.
attention that you're like looking at it, holding it, like, okay, and why am I feeling this?
Wow.
Or why am I having these patterns? But I think writing it down, and so that we can become, because the first thing is awareness. If it's
And
just
being
happening
conscious
to
of it.
us, awareness is giving space, right? We become aware, we can do something about it. But most of the time, these things are just happening to us. When we're in very
Mhm.
contracted states, they're just like,
Yes. Yes.
when we're very muddled and with all the energies and all this stuff coming up, it's happening to us. So we have to
Yeah.
find space to be like, okay, and it takes responsibility because, we have to do the work in a way. We have to write it down. We have to want to evolve. And it's like, start looking at your stuff.
Yes. Thank you for
And that's
that.
how it
You
shifts.
answered.
When you start seeing it, it's so easy to shift.
That's the good news. Thank you.
Yeah.
You've done a great job at answering that question because, I think many times emotions can override us and we get so caught up in it mentally. But just this simple, it's not always easy, but it's so simple just to remember to breathe and to sit, like you said, to sit with those emotions. If we're really deep into it, I can sense some people would just be like, no, get me out of here. I don't want to feel this way. And so there's one thing to say, I'm tired of feeling this way. I'm done with feeling this way. So then if that's being said by someone for whatever reason, sitting with it, really sitting with it and asking to be shown where is it coming from? What's underneath it? That's really key. So that's like step one. That's the clearing. Is there anything else that's needed to clear that energy, or is that consciousness powerful enough to allow it to dissipate? Like
Yeah.
it just needed to be seen?
Yeah. It just needs to be seen. It needs to be held. And you can sort of um, you have to allow it, and it's like even almost love it, and it's like it's just
Love
energy,
it.
so as you're giving it attention, it's going to change its frequency. You can also just it just sort of like leaves, you can send it back or whatever, but most than anything, you just want to hold it and give it attention. It's like, okay, I see you. Imagine you're have a welling up of like anger. I see you, anger. I see you, anger. Or even a pain, like we have a headache, like, okay, I see this, I
Mhm.
feel this, I feel this headache, I feel this headache. And then just as you're like sort of like saying it to yourself, you can see it's only energy. It's gonna start moving, right? Okay. And I accept you, I allow you, I love you. And by that time, it's gonna just evaporate. It just, yeah. It's like a cloud that goes.
That's really good news. That really is good news that our awareness of it, and we've heard this before, awareness, awareness, awareness. So at one point, slowing down enough to recognize when we're flustered or anxious or scared or angry or jealous, all of these emotions, that really, again, I can't reiterate that enough,
Yeah.
that that's a lot of the work.
Yeah.
And
No,
you
and the
said
thing
that the
is,
new, go ahead. Yes,
sometimes
please.
sometimes we're scared um to feel these emotions because we have so much shame around them, because we've been told that those are bad. But the thing is, those emotions probably aren't even ours. They come from, it's like generational, it's ancestral, it's karmic, it's like
Bloodline.
it's something that we carry. So like once you're able to accept that it is something that we're all moving through, and these emotions, we've all had them at whatever time, and whatever, and it's just emotions, it's just energy that got stuck in your body that is now ready to release. When you're like so caring in that way to yourself, like, then it helps a lot too. I used to have like I couldn't look at my stuff. I used to have so much judgment over it, you know. I had been told that like being jealous was so bad, like, and I was such a jealous child or whatever, and or that getting angry was so bad, you know. And it was like when I finally was able to look at that, I was like, what? I was just a child looking for attention. That's all, you know. And that shifts completely into what? Into a surrender, into that emotion
Mm.
can just leave, you know. It's like that can finally dissipate. So it
I
takes
love it.
courage to look at these things, but it's the
Yeah.
way forward. Mm-hmm.
Why do I hear surrender to love?
Mm.
Surrender
Yes.
to love. Yeah. Thank you for that. That's really wonderful. It's sublime. It's just so subtle. But this is really very powerful for all of us at this time, especially at this time with no matter what's going on out there. If something out there in that world is affecting us, that's the responsibility for us to look inward, to dive deep inward,
Yeah.
and not to blame another for what we're feeling, and to recognize that if something is out there that's triggering us, then this is exactly what we need to do is sit with those feelings. We've heard this so
Yeah.
many times, but it's so refreshing to hear it in different aspects.
Yeah. It's only, yeah, it's only us. That's all there is.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can't do anything to change the outside. So it changes when we change ourselves. And what's amazing, I'm doing a lot of work with like beliefs now, and
Yes, that's huge.
opinions, and it's freaking huge. It's like whole belief systems and everything and changing, and it's just like your whole perspective of life can actually change, you know, like it's because it's what we believe is what we create, right? So
So
as
what
soon
are
as
you doing to shift your beliefs, or to free yourself, liberate yourself from all beliefs? Like
Mhm.
like what if we had no beliefs? I mean, okay, let's clarify that. We
I think we
believe
want
in
high
love.
frequency beliefs.
Okay, high
Yeah.
frequency beliefs. That's the
Empowering beliefs,
distinction.
right? Or
We need
empowering
that.
beliefs.
We need beliefs. We need,
Yeah.
like, we
Yeah.
believe in source. We believe in love. We trust love. We know love.
Yeah. So
Beliefs
most of
are,
us have like really beliefs. We've all been coded. We all have beliefs of like, I
yeah,
can't
we're
become,
human.
you know, God doesn't love me. I'm bad. You know, there's no not having faith. All these things, which you know, are not allowing our evolution, or we think it's like it has to be either this way or that way. And it's just because of how we've either inherited those or have we seen the world when we were small. It's not a very pleasant world we live in, you know? It's evolving, but it hasn't been. We've all gone through really tough lives many times, right? And so those are important to change because there is a whole like a whole amount of like wealth, abundance, you know, knowledge, wisdom coming to us. And it's like when we change those beliefs of like, you know, we were like, okay, I'm like so supported. And that goes back to when you were saying that trust, you know, it's like change that belief. And then that there's this, you know, you can actually finally trust and know that the universe and spirit, God, whatever you want to call it, the greater consciousness is actually supporting you in as scary as it might, you know, at moments scary, like, but it's like that it's like, okay, things are going to work out, you know, and even like the harder moments, you might be like, okay, there's a learning in that as well. But knowing that you're always going to be supported. But
Thank you.
really, like,
I love
no,
that.
sometimes we say, like, oh no, I trust, but it's not aligned, you know, it has to be really aligned. And it has to be really those deep ingrained um, beliefs, and I keep working with mine, you know, and removing things that
Mm.
are not right, removing and it's like and wow, and things change, and I feel more and more supported every time, and and sometimes I don't, and then I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Because there's going to be more expansion like that to me when I'm not. It's not like I'm not going to play the victim. I'm like, okay, cool. There's something I have to look at, and there's more expansion for me, right?
Okay. And as I said, and we've got questions, I want to reach out to our Zoom audience. If you've got a question, raise your hand or put it in our chat. We've got one I'm going to get to in a moment. So it's not, like I said earlier, there was one point where I just didn't want to feel a certain way anymore. And I said, I don't want to feel this way. And because I sat there and was aware of it, it wasn't a bypass because I was able to see where that was coming from. And you're right, it does shift. So that's really powerful. And again, it's just sitting with that energy and allowing it to move out. So when you say
I think a
we are,
bypass is when you don't want to feel it, right? When you don't want to see it. Isn't that a bypass when you
that's
really
a
want to
bypass.
see it?
And so when I say I don't want to feel this way anymore, do you think I was bypassing it, or
Or you were taking responsibility, no, from what I'm hearing you say.
I think I was taking
Yeah.
responsibility. You're right. Because I was aware of it and it was like, where is it coming? And then, okay, so, all right, just to be clear, I don't think I was bypassing it because I then went and said, all right, I get this, but now I don't want to feel that way anymore. So then it
Yeah.
was allowing it. And I think I can still go and do a little bit more work of sitting with that energy instead of just saying, I don't want to feel this way anymore. Because if it keeps coming up, maybe we haven't
Mm.
cleared it fully
Mm.
yet,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But like when I say, usually when I think of bypassing, I think more like you have all this stuff going on. I think more like not wanting even to look at it, you know, you'll have all this
Mhm.
stuff bubbling underneath and you're up
In your head somewhere
outside.
out
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, very
And you're
good.
like, everything is good, you know, but things are not. And then like your
They're
reality's
not.
not good, you know, things are not functioning, but you want to say everything is good. And that happens a lot. Yeah.
Thank you for that distinction. That
Mm.
really is important and helps us along the way as we
Yeah, because
navigate.
when we don't bypass and we come more into our body, we come more into alignment with all
Yeah,
that we are. So we're aligning all our energetic bodies, right? Um, and we're aligning into source, our source, and um, connected in our heart, like trusting that deep thing in our heart. Then it's amazing
thank you.
when things start like happening.
Very good. Okay, let's
Things start
see.
coming to you, and you don't have to go after them.
I love that.
When you're in your
Here,
heart is center power. So where there's power, and then things start. We have this also this conditioning, this coding that we have to go get things. But that's like the shift we're doing now, where it's like, no, 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 everything is coming when you're very aligned and you're really in your heart and your heart center. So like your whole energy is with you, then things start coming to you, and you start being able to materialize. But you're really trusting, and things start coming. You know, it's that ingrained fear or whatever and not trust, which is like, no, I have to go after doing things. But like if you're, yeah, and then you follow, and then when you're really in your heart and you feel like things that excite you, and you follow that feeling, your intuition, that things that excite you, but from the heart, you know, it's gonna, and you're not thinking about yourself, it's quite selfless. It's like when it's you're thinking about like how whatever you're gonna do is also like gonna be a ripple effect for the good of all, right? It's
mhm.
so yeah, you're it's in balance, you're getting your way, but it's like you're also seeing mm, with more wholeness, more of the picture.
I love that. And as we're sitting there and feeling into that right now and anchoring in the hearts,
Mm.
I really feel like we're beginning to sense some of those
Yeah,
things
there's a
coming
lot
in.
shifting.
Information. Yes, yes,
There's
information.
a lot holding. There's a lot of yeah, energy shifting.
And we may not be able to articulate exactly what it is in the moment, but just the feeling of this is really very, very powerful. Okay, so we can see how subtle the shift is. Subtle, it's very subtle. It may not feel subtle when we're going through some intense emotions, but coming into the heart then and letting it clear, is very subtle. It's very subtle. We can feel it coming out. So thank you. Thank you for this conversation on that. It is very helpful. So I want to go to some questions now. Our Zoom audience, please share with us your questions. And I have a question from Caroline. If you'd like her to share her voice, I'm going to ask her to unmute. As I read her question, you may want to interact with her. So she says, I've been going through a lot of anxiety, physically debilitating. Can you assist a little right now? And Caroline, hi, you can say hello.
Right
Hi,
here.
Caroline. Oh,
Hello.
hello.
Hi.
Hi. So a lot of people are going through this, I think, because because as to me, anxiety is when we're going so much into our heads, right? And we're so
It's
and we
more
need to connect to our bodies more. I'm always going to say the same. I repeat, but it is that it's sort of like and there's a lot of energies pushing for our stuff to come out, so we need to recognize it or whatever. But maybe I can do. So, do you want me to do a transmission?
love any help. Yes.
Okay. So we
And I
can do.
think we're all going through anxiety.
Mhm.
Yes,
Mhm.
we just went through a crazy time in the US here. So thank you for this little transmission,
Yeah.
Barbara.
So this is like an energetic transmission. Okay, it's in light language, and it will just to calm down the nervous system so that we can. So I want you to breathe in through your nose, and you might be able to start breathing in a bit deeper without forcing it, just allowing, noticing where your energy is going, where your attention, bringing your attention into the body, into your heart. Ahoma kakara to kikarane ko asaranai mo koko akera to ko amakasaranai mo koko aki asaranai mo ko ikarakea ko ka 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 ka. Breathing in again, taking in life, and breathing out, relaxing further. Breathing in, feeling, and maybe you can even imagine sort of like this cord pulling you from your sacral down into the earth, bringing all your energy down into the earth. And so anyone can use this. Even though I'm working with Caroline right now, it is useful for everyone. And feeling your feet onto the earth, just feeling, also noticing the veins that are down on your feet, just feeling those veins flowing, connecting onto the earth as if they were roots. And we're opening up like all the diaphragm area so that without forcing it, you can breathe deeper, your stomach can relax further, the muscles in your back can start relaxing as well. So you might feel the energies moving through your back. And if you don't feel those, don't worry, it is happening. Anyways, just allowing for the base of your spine, your sacral to expand, to open up. Shirinia kai koi kasaranai mokoi kakao kai sirinia koi karakia moko kasaranai morotoi kare. You can now feel safe in your body. Ohoma karate ara no koi saranai mokoi karate ara no koi kasaranai morote. Good. You can start relaxing, feeling safe in the body. Bring all your attention inward into your heart, into each one of your organs. Yeah. Good. Breathing in and bringing all the attention into each one of your cells. Ahamakoi karatea no koko asaranai mokoi karatai mokoki asaranai. You can now release the tension without anything to do. Ahaimakaratua koko masaranai mokoi karate. So just gently sort of moving your body, shaking a little bit. And if you would like, you can hold your body, just give yourself a hug. Good. Allowing this blanket of love, of support to sort of wrap you up in a cocoon. Okay. And breathing in and breathing out. So this process is starting now, but it's a process that's going to keep on going. And there's going to be clearing in the ears and clearing throughout the system. So just support yourself with water, with love, with hugs, right? You can put your hands on your chest, in your heart, one hand in the chest, one hand in the belly, and keep bringing your attention down. Yeah. And if you need more support, Caroline, you can get in touch.
Thank you
I
so
hope you
much.
enjoyed it.
Really appreciate it. And if you're hearing water flow in the background, I have I grow vegetables indoors. So if you can hear that water, the water started flowing as you did the process.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
That's the flow of the emotions, you know, the
Yeah,
flow of life. Amazing.
yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will look at maybe one of your special offers. Yeah. Thank you, Loren.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you for facilitating that, because this was very helpful for all of us.
Mm.
And again, it just illustrates the simplicity of self-soothing, right? Self-soothing and what we can do to release any anxiety, depression, fear, all of it. So thank
Well,
you for
yeah, these energies also support a lot. And, you know, the sound that, ooh, that's something that you can use, even if it's like, I mean, it doesn't have to be my sound, you know, but any sound that like these are the frequencies that I bring down, that I translate. They're my frequencies or whatever, you know, from my gifts. But you can use any sound, any music, anything that feels good to you, that is of like, you know, that's so important, because we are energy is sound. We are sound. We are so, you know, sound can shift us out of stuff so amazingly quickly. And yeah, so that's another tip. You know, you can always go online and look for stuff, different sound, different music that you might like, and wow, it can shift things.
And just the toning. I mean, I think maybe I've shared this before, but the first time I heard toning, I laughed. But
Mm.
that was cathartic for me
Yeah, yeah.
because it opened me up to pay attention. And when I would be in certain situations, and maybe it was stress or someone was in a situation, the only thing that I would know to do is tone, or with animals and things. So that's my go-to, toning. I know others do light language and that sort of thing, but like what you did, the toning. And so that validates
Mm-hmm.
this because,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, there's codes coming through. The sound that we're illustrating or expressing with our voice is something. It's not just made up or something to be laughed
Yeah.
at. It's
Or,
something.
mm. And our sound changes as we release our debris or whatever, all that, heavy stuff inside, and we sort of like go into different consciousness platforms, like we expand more, we raise our frequency, our
Mhm.
sound changes.
Yeah.
The purer our sound can be. So, it just
Wow.
the less, yeah. So,
All right, everybody, sing and
and it's
dance.
important
Let's
to
go.
express our voices. We have been very shut down. We have a lot of
Right?
fear to express. We have like a lot of coding inside that is like so fearful to, like, we think we're going to do something bad or something, that we can't express our truth. And we should
Right.
all be singing.
We should all be singing. We should be
Yeah.
singing and dancing and skipping and humming and everything. We should. We should. I don't want to shoot on
Actually, like
everybody.
humming and like actually humming and putting your tongue up. That's another thing, Caroline, that you could do. But like it's, and when you, that's putting your tongue up in the, what do you call it, in the palate, and you hum.
Uh-huh.
That opens up also, like all the pineal and everything else, and it opens up portals for us to know. So it's actually quite and relaxing. It's pretty interesting to do and quite good to do.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, this
I'm
is ancient
getting
wisdom too. Ancient is ancient Atlantean. So
I'm getting a comment that my audio is loud and yours is a little soft. I don't know what we can do about that,
no.
except I'll try to talk softer. No, I'm just kidding. Um, Maybe it'll balance out. Zoom has
Yeah.
amazing things, audio filters. Okay. So Barbara, thank you. This is really fun. And so let's hear some stories, some amazing and fun Claire sentient abilities, stories of those. What
Mm-hmm.
have you noticed about yourself, like in hindsight, when you realized, wow, that was something? Share with us a few stories.
Well, I have tons, but first is my voice. So my gift with the voice, my activations with the voice happened a while back. As I increased my frequency, I was like amazed, because it was like when I was able to like bring down my spirit into the body completely, which is bringing down my also like all those gifts, everything else, all my potential. My voice was completely different, and I saw like the abilities I can have, with all my light language and everything that I could do, that I could start seeing also, like the whole field, and with that tone, or with even like movement and stuff, I could move things around in the field that were not um move things out that weren't supposed to be there, put things back in, etc. Then lately it's really fun that I'm having this is just very recent, so I'm always talking about it because it's also really exciting. Like as soon, like I'll have my dreams are very promote, so it's like I'll dream something and then the next day it's happening. So and yeah, that's amazing. I love that. I love that. And then what other story? I don't know, I have a lot, but I don't know. Sometimes, when certain abilities, like, you smell things. I'll smell things, and I'm working with people, and it's like, and I get the scent. I'm like,
Yeah, is that a
what am I
ghost?
smelling? Huh?
Is that a ghost?
No, it might be from it's something about the person. I'll feed it back to them. So why am I smelling? And they're like, oh yes, and this and that, you know? So I'm
Ah,
smelling. So it's like how do you say when you have the smelling ability? So
um, Claire, what
Clary
is that,
smell.
Claire? Claire olfactory? I don't know.
Okay, I don't know. So
Okay,
then,
okay. So then and so that is significant for that person. Whereas in other instances, it could present a
or I
spirit.
could smell like a fire when there's a big fire, a fire from very far away. Like I mean, very very far away. Like that, it's impossible to be smelling, but I can sort of smell it because I'm, sort of like
Huh, you're
time and space doesn't really exist, right? So, um,
interesting. So if anybody has, wow, okay, you're making me aware of something because I have a really sensitive smell as well. Like I can smell things from very acutely. So that's something to pay attention to.
yeah,
Okay, good. Thank you. And the
yeah.
same with sounds, like would that
All
apply
the
to like tones, hearing tones in the
You're
ear?
hearing frequency. So for me, like somebody speaks, I know where they are at on their platform of consciousness, or where they're at in, like, in their frequency. And then when I'm working with people, and as we're removing certain things, because I can work with light language. That's not what I do in private session. I'll work. We'll go. I use kinesiology. So I'll sort of like access the subconscious of the person, and then we'll start asking like what we need to remove from there. So like actually the person knows what we're removing. But as we're removing it, I can just hear the frequency of the person sort of getting higher. And so that's a whole thing. I get to a place, I can hear like what's the frequency like here? What's okay? Is it what type of so if you hear in the frequency, you know what type of energies there are, um, which is it's great because it's all these scents, which I'm repeating again, as we evolve we all have, or as we expand our consciousness and we evolve we all have, they're very helpful
Yes, they're
in
very
the
helpful.
world. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow. All right, very
And
cool.
then the most important one, I think, is like so important, is like just like the knowing.
The
There's this
knowing.
knowing, and then like certain things where I'm just like, so I just got to I was traveling. I've been working in Spain now. I was then in Portugal. I was in Portugal. Now I just arrived in France. I know French. I haven't used it in so long. And I said something like I was gonna in the airport. I started speaking English, and then straight away, like it just um came out, like it was just like the knowing of the language. Like I've never spoken it so well. Like I know it's not from what I know, from what I learned when I was small. It's just like a natural ability. We sort of just know things, and it's the bypass of the mind. We've been taught that we need to learn knowledge, but then no, when we anchor our spirit in, it's like you just know things, and you're like, I don't know how I know this, but I know how to. And it's the same as like when I'm working with the field and everything. And yeah, I've studied with many teachers. I've studied the body. I've studied all our organs. I've studied like deeply, but then there's an aspect of it where I'm just like all these gifts open up, and I'm like, I just know how to do this stuff. And people ask me, I'm like, you don't ask a singer how they sing, right? It's sort of the same thing. um it's it's quite amazing, like you'll also like recognizing places, or just being yeah, I mean
Thank
there's
you for that because we tend to, what do you do when, all right, I'm looking at some places, like I went to this one place, and as soon as I stood there, not only did a golden owl fly at me, it was morning hours, like 10 o'clock in the morning, and there's an owl flying at me and above me. But I had a remembrance of a lifetime as a Native American in this beautiful valley. And I just know it. That's one of those where I just know it's real. Now, the brain kind of came in to say, you're just making it up because you want to make it up. But I think my knowingness was able to override it. What can you say to all of us when that happens, when our brain or our mind can come in, our ego mind can come in and say, nah, that's not true. What do you do with that?
Um, um, again, the more we come into balance, the more we release that. Like, I don't think now it doesn't happen, but it happened a lot
Because
before in
because
my
you're
whole,
so
in my,
embodied.
yeah,
You're embodied.
that's what
And
I mean.
so it
Yeah.
diminishes.
So it just
So
goes, it doesn't happen to me. I don't question. I'm
that's
like, I know. There's so much trust, but I've had throughout all this journey, I've had some crazy stuff, and I'm like, and I judged it all. I questioned it all, like of like meaning like really like activations that I've had from, and like my phone, like I wouldn't be able to, like, my phone would go off and like all these things that like, and I'm, no, it can't be like, no, 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 and just like sort of would negate everything, like, because, but that's part of, what we're removing, right?
yes, yes.
that that
Okay.
that judgmental mind, that limited mind that is telling us like, there's nothing supporting us, that there's no those higher things or whatever. But like for me, but like the only, like what I can say for me was I've worked on myself. I don't know if I want to call it worked on myself, but I've like evolved and dig deeper and gone into to remove these things that don't, like, I just imagine you're a computer, you're removing like these, yeah, I don't know, viruses and cookies, that they've
Viruses.
put in these programs that they've like, that have been coded for eons of time, like, and
Yes, I
and
love that.
finally it happens. It's like, I don't know, finally it happens, and it happens to each one of us when it's supposed to happen. And
Yes. It's
but
like
yeah,
a
and
muscle.
sometimes like I'll try, sometimes, and I'll always say this, like, it doesn't mean like sometimes we have this idea of like I'm speaking here and life is perfect for me. No, I have like tons of challenges, but it's like I have tons of trust too. So, and the challenges become, like, I think before, the challenges were I was more a victim, would really get to me and it was really hard, and challenges would just bring me down. Whereas now
Uh-huh.
challenges where I have this trust and I'm like, okay, what can I learn about this? And what's yeah, what is this bringing me so that I can expand more?
I love that whole attitude, that whole perspective, because we have tools now to help us get through it. And yeah, I mean, I think any of us can look at our life even 5 years ago, even a year ago. That's how fast we're constantly changing. Maybe even a week ago, as we really adapt to the energies and and bring these tools into our life, remember these tools. And so then when things get kind of hairy and gnarly, then we pass through them that much easier. I really do love it. And I find that so promising and hopeful because we are getting better at it. And so it is like a muscle that we're flexing, it's getting stronger and stronger. And as you said, because you've embodied and aligned yourself, you've embodied your spirit, and you are in alignment, when you become aware of
I work at my alignment all the time.
all
I
the
work at
time,
being in balance all the time.
all the
And I
time,
get
like
out of
every
balance
moment of the
sometimes.
day.
And I have to get back into balance.
Okay. And so what do you do
It's not
to
like
do
it's not like, oh, I don't, huh?
So, okay, there's a question. Share with us how you do that in every moment. Just really quick. I mean, I know you talked about the breath or whatever, and that's really good. Bringing ourselves into alignment. And then I've got a few more questions from our audience.
Yeah. So I just call all my energy back to myself and send everything like with strong intention, because our intention is all we have, really, and it's where we take. So like I want to have a clear mind, clear heart, and I send everything that is not mine away back to where it came from, and I call back my energy, right? Hmm. And then I also, the work that I do with kinesiology, and I work on myself all the time, right? Things get in. things get into my system, things get out, things that are in my system that are ready to go out, and that's what the private sessions that I do are. But like online, and it's like I'll make sure that I don't have any, like that I'm in balance, because I'm seeing whatever is if things aren't working,
Yeah,
something
it's
is
a
probably ready to shift and move and
continuum.
transform.
It's great to know that when we're triggered, something is ready to shift and transform. And I think that is worthy of everyone reminding themselves. And that's like a new part of this lesson. When we're triggered and we're feeling those emotions, just to expect the beauty behind it, the goodness behind it, because something is coming up behind it. That's really important. Okay, thank you for that. Janet has a comment, a question. Barbara, if you would, please share your process for self-clearing beliefs.
Oh, that's what I don't know how to do, like self clear. Like I do it on myself, but that's how I use, I'll go into the subconscious and start asking. So it's not something that one on their own can sort of do.
Oh,
I can do it
you
on myself, but I don't know that I can do it, like so we have our subconscious mind, right? It knows everything, everything's stored in our subconscious mind. It's like this hardware. So it's like
which is based off of our feelings that we had, that we believed.
mm-hmm.
That's
And
what programmed the subconscious mind. The feelings that we had that we believed,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, yeah. And then so it's like asking the subconscious what's ready, if you have an issue, and like what's ready, what are the beliefs that are there, right? And sort of like taking that out, and then those beliefs have an energy connected to it. They only hold because there's energy connected to it. So then it's moving the energy, like whatever emotions, whatever, energies, different energies are attached to this, that is holding it together. And then once you remove that energy, you can remove all those beliefs, and and then introduce new ones, positive ones.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Janet, we hope that answered your question. And it's always good to,
But what I can say with, like, sorry, Lauren, but like
oh, no, it's all right.
Janet, I just thought, like, so this is like how what I said at the beginning, actually, what you can do to realize, like, also your beliefs on your own is actually write down, what are you thinking? What are your beliefs? Because first you have to become aware of your beliefs. But what happens is, in a session, what you get is that it's quite hard, that what I say, like our mind is always going to tell us stories. So you have to be, and see the things through whatever lenses. So the good thing about going into the subconscious in the session and putting it is that you're actually bypassing the mind, and you're going to the space where everything is stored, and it's your higher self, your consciousness saying, okay, I'm ready to let go of these, because these are no longer useful for me to evolve. Right? It won't remove all beliefs. No, it's going to remove the ones that it's ready to, and then we expand more. And then, so like, that's why I do it on myself too, because I'm, it's what I was saying. We can't, if we had full expansion, or like in all our sense, our sense and clairsentience and everything open up, it'd be too much for us to sustain. We have to do it, we have to do it with care,
Mhm.
step by step.
Beautiful. Step by step, one piece at a time. Okay. Linda's question, she says, as I release more and more, I see, sense, and feel transformation occurring within me, and would love to share it and the process of it. But the knowing doesn't come through in normal 3D translation. Any suggestions to find a way to translate it to others?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
This knowingness. So Linda's releasing, and she's seeing and sensing it, and she knows the process of it. But the knowingness doesn't come in normal 3D translation. So I guess this is a question of knowingness. Linda, if you would like, you can unmute yourself and clarify this question for us. Linda, maybe not.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, that's just part of the knowingness. The knowingness. I think that would probably mean the mind, the 3D would be not getting any 3D way to articulate it in a 3D perspective. But when we know something, we know it.
Mm-hmm. The knowing doesn't have much words either. Or the for me,
Right.
for me. Um, yeah, and you mean like you know something, but then you don't see you know that something is going to happen, but that you don't see it happening. Um, well, mm, that's a matter of getting more into alignment of because the maybe the knowing is not really from the heart, but it's more from the mind. Um, Sometimes the mind can sort of play tricks on us, and we want to see the things that we want to see, and we're like, no, I know this, and it's like I'm seeing like these numbers, and it's those, and so it's not
Yeah.
really an expanding knowing as a knowing is from the heart, from a support and a trust, but it's more like I want it to be this way, and then and that's like the very um, let's say like the very most of like mind way of working, the very masculine way of working, we want something to be in a certain way, um, which is not the actual knowingness of the heart, where it's like, okay, I know, and because when you're like and it might not be you might not see it represented in the 3D straight away, but it's going to happen. So it will
Yeah.
happen, so you don't give it like much thought. It's like, okay, so it's a lot more open because then you're allowing, and it doesn't mean you're not putting a time frame to it or like waiting for it to happen. But when it's from the mind, then you are, it's like I want it now.
Yes. All right. I have to share a story
Mm.
about my own knowingness, and I did allude to it in the beginning. There were trees that were going to be cut down in my neighborhood, and because there was a beetle, the pine beetle, that was or the emerald ash borer is what it was.
Mm.
So we did a fundraiser to save these trees, and the government said every 2 years you're going to have to do this treatment on these trees. So we raised the money from the community to pay for the treatment for 40 some trees. It was so beautiful because I couldn't imagine these trees getting cut down. I must have been a tree in another life because I knew that I only needed to do it once. I knew that we had to just do this one time. Something about it, like my whole body was lit up. I just knew it. Then it comes up to the 2 year cycle when it's time to redo the trees, and winter came, so we couldn't treat the trees right before they were going into hibernation for winter. So we had to wait until spring. In the time between spring and winter, the local government said, oh, the problem's over, we're done, no more treatment needed. Somehow I just knew that. I knew that from the beginning. So I share this story because I knew it in my body. I felt it in my body. There was just something that was so confident about it. My mind was trying to eke in and say, and then I said, okay, if that happens, it happens. But wouldn't it be great? And it ended up not being a problem. And it took 2.5 years. It took 2.5 years to see that. But I share that story because I'm remembering the feeling of it. And so to me, that is beyond 3D translation. The feeling, this is more of a fifth dimensional wisdom. So maybe this knowingness, because of the feeling, is something to pay attention to. Like you say, it's the energies of it. And this was definitely the energies of it. Amazing, right?
Yeah.
So good. All right. So everyone, thank you for expanding your feeling of your knowingness, clearing out the trauma like we've been talking about today, clearing out the dense negative energies, negative limiting beliefs, because as Barbara was sharing, it only gets better from here and we get stronger at what we're doing and we show up in a way that literally helps the world. And that's really important at this time.
Yeah.
So let's see. Any other questions? Thank you, Tammy says, Claire Gustance. Claire Gustance is smell. People who have passed
Isn't
bring their
that taste?
smell to her
Clara
to let
Gustave, isn't that taste?
her Gustance.
Mm.
And she says people who've passed, it could be a spirit. Yes, I've had that too. And they always, she says, people who have passed bring their smell to me to let me know they are around me. They always bring a smell. I will know that it will be that person, like cigarettes, perfume, or food.
Mm.
That's very cool. Okay, very cool. Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, well, all right, Barbara, you've got high frequency ways that people can work with you. And so I want to take a moment right now and showcase your special offer. I'm going to put the link in the Zoom chat, and those who are on YouTube can find it in the description box. And of course, it's on this page that got you to this program today. But there are beautiful transmissions, beautiful recordings, and something coming up with you, an event coming up with you. Share with us your special offer. This is learning how to clear your energy and keep it in shape.
So that's a workshop sort of that I give a class, and there'll be a transmission, but it's also about this, about keeping our energy in check and understanding more as um, as the frequency goes up and we change our energy and we become more conscious, we can understand more the energetic reality, the field, and everything that else, and how our system works and how we can interact our system with the field and everything else. So that's quite important. So I'll be teaching that stuff. I'll be explaining how yeah, how to keep our energy in check, and it is mm, very straightforward, very clear. We don't need to complicate things. I think for me, how I work, it is very clear, very simple. Our systems, what we're going, instead of creating more, is like coming in, creating simple clarity, and it's crystal clear. So it'll just have, yeah, different commandments and different ways of clearing our energy and how we interact with that field in order for things to start happening. And I'll have some activations as well. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
There are also bundles of courses with Barbara, but then also a personal private session. You are a great facilitator to help people move through certain energies that they need. And it's always good to have an outside person look in and see things that may not be so visible for someone. What happens in a personal session?
We are like the person comes with what I was saying before. I go into the subconscious, we can access whatever, whatever's creating that um emotional, physical, mental distress, whenever, however you're feeling that is not good, or if you want to expand and going to a higher frequency, also whatever is not limiting you that you can't. So we either work with like the beliefs or with anything else that is in the system that we can sort of rewire, let's say, release, rewire, put together. And I mean, people feel amazing after. So it's really good. I love being able to support people in that journey, and I love when people start miracles and magic starts happening in the world or in their world, and also for them just to feel better, you know. Yeah.
To feel better. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for the beautiful service and assistance that you give to everyone.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, everyone, you can find the beautiful promotion there with Barbara. And she actually has a Buddha series as well, a Buddha series set of energy transmissions. So if you enjoyed the mini transmission in today's call, you can get a bundle from her recordings. And this was from the WESOC transmission. And it also includes the workshop that's coming up in just a few weeks as well. Again, everything's recorded if you can't join live so that you can use these tools in your own time as you need them. Beautiful time.
That,
Share more.
that Buddha consciousness well, that energy transmission, it's like my divine love language or light language transmission, and it's really powerful. People really enjoy it. I love it. I love it. It's more of grounding into the body. So when I'm doing this light language, basically, it's just like these energies, frequencies of the new time energies, right? The crystal energy, and it's going into, it's going into each person particularly and shifting whatever they need to shift, like releasing that needs to shift for them. Each person has their own story, so it's just going to shift. So it's like, it's not like the energies know what they do, that's it. And their love intelligence, so there's nothing much that you need to do. There's going to be a transformation happening. Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Thank you for that. Again, in our Zoom chat, you will see the link for that. Check it out, and you will get an immediate download for those recordings, and you'll be in line for the workshop coming up. So we look forward to that. Thank you so much, Barbara. I am feeling really good, and I'm loving our conversation today. As we say goodbye, I want to give you a moment for final thoughts.
My final thoughts are, I love the flowers that you have next to you. They're beautiful, and all the green. And I don't have many thoughts. I am just sending big love to everyone. I thank you very much for your platform and being able to share all this wisdom and knowledge, and to support so many people. I'm very grateful. And I'm grateful for those that stepped up to ask questions. And that means that they're wanting to step forward in their journey.
Yes. And you've assisted us and given us some really valuable tools as we move along. And they're self-soothing tools, really. I love that word, keeping our frequency high and becoming crystal clear. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Barbara Canals. This was a beautiful conversation, and we thank you for your beautiful time today. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. You can find Barbara's program and check it out, and we will see you again for another quantum conversation. Namaste.
Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in unity consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.